2014 Buick Enclave with the V6. Intermittently, the check engine light comes on and the AC light flashes. And we have a P0119 coolant temperature sensor fault. Intermittent. Probably need a sensor. But first we gotta double check our coolant level. Okay, got this cover off. Here's the cap. It unthreads. Make sure it's not really hot and under pressure. And as you unscrew it, you want to do it slowly when you get to before it pops off, because you don't want it being under pressure, being hot. And it's a radiator cap, and they'll shoot coolant out if they're hot and overheating. But the reason why I want to take this cap off before I do my sensor, I want to make sure that it's full on fluid, and then I want to release any pressure that's in there. So when I do take the sensor out, it doesn't have a geyser pushing the coolant out. So then if I take it off, no pressure, I'll put it back on and I'll tighten it up. If you leave it off and loose and take the sensor out, then you'll have atmospheric pressure pushing against this, pushing the coolant out of the sensor hole. So we don't want any fluid coming out. By putting the cap on, it creates its own little self-sealed area, so hardly any fluid will come out, but some will come out. Okay? So if you don't have a sensor, go get your sensor, and then we'll go on to the next step. Okay, you got the front cover off. Now you need to do is get to the sensor. Sensor's right next to the dipstick tube. So you want to do is pull the dipstick out so you don't break the plastic on. And it's inside of an aluminum foil insulator right next to the tube. What you want to do is you want to pull that aluminum foil insulator up from around the sensor. Kind of booger, get your arm in there. Plus it's not tall enough, but you need to get inside there and pull that insulator up from around the connector. Pull it up. Okay. Okay. See how it's up on it? I don't know if you can't see it from down there. But then now you can unplug it. You should be able to see it, unplug it. You have to get a light down in there and then get a better view of it. I'll need to do the same, so give me a minute. Okay, the connector has a red plastic stop. You have to remove the red plastic piece before you can disconnect the connector. If you can see it, it's just right there above the dipstick tube. So, see if I get a better idea on it. Okay. See, it's red. That's what we're looking at. So you need to get a pick in there and pick that red piece out. Okay, here's the insulator. Piece you pulled up. Here's the connector. What you want to do is you remove the red piece from here to there. Remove that section so you can grab hold of this section of it and push that down. Okay. Next, you want to get your coolant sensor, your new one. Find the right size socket that fits it with a swivel on it, a long extension. And then you want to loosen it up and take it out. And remember, release your pressure on your cap. Make sure it's cold, not hot. Tighten it back up and keep a suction side of it. So when you take it out, it doesn't just spew out because you got the cap off, okay? Okay, I used two extensions, my swivel and my socket. I went through here underneath the core support over to it. It's almost a straight shot. Swivel gives me a little bit extra. So now I can just break it loose. They're not in there very tight. Just about like that. Boom. That's it. Broke it loose. And what I'll do is I got it almost all the way out. And then I'll take my socket off and I'll stick my hand down in there and finish unthreading it. And I'll hurry up and pull my hand up with the sensor, and I'll trade the new one, the old one for the new one. And I'll thread the new one in, and then I'll get my socket back down in there and snug it up. Okay, I got it in there. I snugged it up. It's almost a straight shot. Worked pretty good. I put the socket back on first, and then I put my swivel on and my extension, and I snugged it up. And this is what my old one looks like, okay? Make sure it plugs in like that, okay? The angle one towards the little clip, okay? Not the square one, the angle one towards the clip. And you see them little things on the side there? Make sure your connector goes over them, and make sure it's straight, okay? So you want to put it on the angle. Your clip goes on the angle, not the square one, okay? Line up the connector with that sensor best you can. This was the hardest thing I've ever done on a connector. So I lined it up best I could, and then I pushed it on my index finger. I have my other hand in here wrapped around this tube, thumb here, no, my thumb here, my index there, and I just could not get it till I did it this way with my index finger, because I put the light in here and I could see it, and I pushed it on there and it pushed right on, okay? I fought with it for a while, but I finally got it with my index finger. Don't forget to push the insulator back over it. Okay, insulator's back over it. I hardly lost any coolant. So just double check your coolant level. Top it off in your reservoir. Put this front radiator cover back on. Put your engine cover back on. Take it for a ride. Get it hot. Make sure everything works properly. Recycle your key a couple times. Start and shut it off a couple times. Redrive it. Make sure it sees a couple engine cycles. And make sure it gets hot and you're not overheating, you don't have no leaks. And make sure the air conditioning works. And if everything's working and you already cleared the code, you'll be good. So double check, make sure you clear your code. And that's it. If I helped you out, awesome. If you could subscribe to me, that would be perfect. If you already did, you're awesome. Thank you. And don't forget your dipstick, okay? Push it in there. All right, thank you.